I cannot believe I just did that shit. I just literally spent about 20 minutes trying to figure out why this microphone wasn't working. And I go around and I turned off the AC and the fan and just trying to figure out what the fuck, because I didn't have this fucking problem before. And finally I realized I needed to check which microphone it was recording from, and it was recording from the computers and not this microphone. So, yeah. I feel like an idiot. And now I feel like I'm recording too high, but I don't want to, like, keep making test recordings, trying to figure out what's the perfect distance from the mic. I don't know. I'm overthinking it. I know I am. It's been really hard lately. I don't know how to start. I mean, it's easier when I'm with my friend because, you know, he can ask me questions, I can bounce ideas off of him or tell him about my day or whatever, but it's harder when you're just sitting here, and I'm overthinking it. I feel myself overthinking, and I hate it. I hate it so much. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos today of how to, like, unclutter your brain, basically. I am having a lot of trouble, not necessarily focusing, but trying to just, I don't know, I guess figure out what the next step is for about, feels like 100 different projects. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm being stretched thin, that I'm so thin that I'm not giving it's like I'm giving all of my tasks a half-assed job. Like, I'm not fully committing myself to anything that I need to do because I keep thinking about the other things that I haven't done yet. So I feel like I have all these projects on my hand and I'm just half-assing all of them, and it's weighing on me because nothing's getting done, it feels like. And I feel like sometimes, you know, you have your good days and your bad days, but I don't know if it's getting better or worse. I don't know. It really does change day by day of, like, is this the good path? Is this the right idea? I just don't know. I feel an extreme amount of pressure with Maverick as well, my 2-year-old, because he is delayed in his speech. I can't help but feel like that's my fault. I'm just struggling so hard with him right now because I know he's frustrated because he can't get what he wants across to me, and I just don't know. Like, I can't figure this out, and it's like I'm getting no help from anyone else. I don't know. It's a long story, but I'm supposed to be going to a speech therapist for him, you know, occupational therapy, and months I've been calling about getting onto their, basically I'm on a waiting list to get on the waiting list, I guess. It's a 9-month to 1-year waiting list, and I'm not even on the waiting list yet. Like, I was supposed to be on 3 months ago, and I've called and called and called and called and called and called. No answers, just to run around. I'm really struggling to get, like, a daily routine down because my life is so different than other people's lives. And also, I'm coming out of a massively deep, like, crater of the earth, deep depression that I've been managing to crawl myself out of very slowly. But it's so hard. It's so hard not to give up, dude. It's just so, ugh. You know when you just have one of those days where you're like, so God's picking on me today. Is that it? I've done something to piss you off, have I? It's like when everything you touch breaks, spills, gets ruined. You know, whatever. It's just like, it's everything today. And last night, a lot of that. I thought just coming on here and talking about it would make me feel better, but I feel more scatterbrained. That's what I was hoping doing this would do, you know, like when I'm feeling overwhelmed and stressed, I always feel better after I've talked to someone that I can talk to, basically, you know. There's people around me that are willing to listen to me, but I am not the type of person to just open up really to the people around me, except for basically one person. I mean, basically, look, there's like 4 people in my life that are very close to me, but 3 of them, you know, they're the type of people to listen to what I say and maybe even help me at that moment, maybe not, but they're definitely the type of person to hold on to any type of information that they think will be useful to use against me later. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be real careful with what I say around them and shit, you know. Some of them are judgmental, super judgmental, and some of them aren't, but have a tendency to use my words as weapons against me. And so, anyways, I was hoping having this YouTube channel would make me vocalize more, make me talk more, make me get some of the load off of myself that I feel every day. I feel like there's so much to talk about, but I really genuinely don't know where to start. And even though you're welcome to leave at any time, you know, you don't have to listen to this whole thing or whatever, but I still feel like I need to rush because I'm not going to be able to keep your attention for very long, you know, like, I do feel like that whenever I do, you know, talk to really anyone, whether it's people close to me or random cashier at the store or whatever. It just seems like nobody has the time to sit and listen, and that's fine. This is, you know, I need this to become a therapy for me, or I need something. Like, I need something new, and maybe I'm hoping this will help me instead. I've tried a therapist. I loved him. He up and quit on me one day, and well, he didn't quit on me. He quit the job. I think it probably had something to do with his home life. I really don't know, though. It was just like all of a sudden, oh yeah, he's not here. Do you want to reschedule? I mean, it's just like I was at such a low point, and to find someone I liked and that I clicked with and that really genuinely was starting to help me, an unbiased outsider's opinion like that. I just had never had that before. And, you know, right when I was feeling better, you know, whatever happened, and then it was like, oh, I was going once a week, and then it was like, oh yeah, well now we gotta find a new therapist, and we'll schedule you in 3 months, because that's when the next availability is for any of them, because they're overbooked, like super overbooked. I mean, there's not enough people working for the people that need help. So, you know, having that big gap fucked with me. And then, long story short, I saw 3 different people over the next about 9 months or so, and didn't work out. So being out here in the country and not having anyone but a 2-year-old to talk to, I just don't talk, basically. And that's something I am trying to work on. I feel like a failure saying this, and I feel like such a shitty fucking parent. I should have known better. Like, anyway, there's nothing I can do about it now, but I feel like it's my fault that Maverick has some kind of speech delay, is because I wasn't talking enough. Like, I guess I just didn't realize, like, how narrating what you're doing is so important to any baby or toddler, you know, basically before they're at the age of 2. You know, narrating what they're doing, or, you know, like, parallel playing with them and stuff, but like talking about what they're doing, what you're about to do, and stuff like that. I you know, I'm the type of person that whenever I'm doing stuff like, say, cooking or, working outside or building something, like, I'm so used to just listening to stuff. And, lately I've been listening to a lot of podcasts or self-helps or how-tos while I'm driving or like building or anything. And, or, occasionally listen to music, but I just didn't realize how important it was to just talk, because that's how any kid, that anyone learns, is by imitation, by hearing it, repetition. I would do repetition, like, mama open, if you wanted me to open something, or little stuff like that. But I just didn't know that, like, full-on conversations, full sentences to him were important. And I just assumed saying the word and doing something was sufficient. And again, I wasn't spitting, paragraphs to him or telling him about my day. And, for the first, say, 8 months or so that I was out here, me and his dad were the only contact he had, and it was going rocky for us. And, he wasn't here a lot. It just wasn't great. And it's just so much mental stuff at once. It's hard to even organize my brain to form the sentence that is needed. Like, there's just so much floods my brain to where my mouth just is like, no, fuck this. You need to get your shit in order before I say something. Like, it's like I feel so like my brain, I don't understand. I'm scatterbrained, but I feel like there's 1,000 things going through my brain at once, and I want to say 100 things, and today was just so freaking hard, and it was like everything. It was just everything. So that's why I think I'm just struggling to even come up with words and just break down, basically. I'm going to say one more thing about this subject, and then I'm going to move on. If there's any moms out there or dads that can help me, God, like 17 questions just popped up in my head right now to ask you, but I don't know, just basically, how, if you have a very busy, very active toddler and they get frustrated very easily because they can't communicate or whatever, how do you not get frustrated in return? I mean, I hate saying it and it makes me feel bad, but it is so hard. It is just so hard to completely engage with him. And I mean, going around, narrating what he's doing, narrating what I'm doing, bringing him in, explaining what I'm about to do, showing him this, showing him that, when he's used to running around on an acreage. I know it's a lot for him, and so he's trying to deal with it. It's a lot for me too, and I'm trying to deal with it. And how do I follow through with things if I get frustrated in the middle of it? I know you're supposed to follow through, and it's like he just becomes kind of just, I don't know what's normal. I'm an only child, so I didn't have, when he, I've heard of the terrible twos, but it's just like when he gets to that point, I know you're not supposed to, match the anger. You're supposed to come in super calm and cool, which is fine if I can take a step back. But I can't take a step back if there's no one here to step in. You know what I mean? Like, when he's at that level, he wants to throw things, he wants to, like, be crazy. And how can I step back and calm down if I know that he's doing something that he should not because he's mad or whatever? Like, ugh. Anyways, one thing I am excited about is what I got going on the back end of the pasture. And so if you don't know, which you don't, because I don't think I've mentioned it, so my mom's dad bought this land that I'm living on right now in 1971, and it got passed down to her, and it will get passed down to me, and then it will get passed down to Maverick. Actually, if I'm alive, fingers crossed, knock on wood, if I am alive in 2071, which I will have just had my 80th birthday, this farm will be 100 years old. I'll have a centennial farm, so it's interesting and very cool, I think. But anyways, my goal is to move down to the back half of the pasture. I have 10 acres. I'm going to move to the back 5 acres, section that off, and have a super sustainable, fully functioning homestead is the plan. Looking a lot into permaculture. That's probably the way I'm going to go. I have a pond down there that I want to get to a like fully functioning, self-sustaining ecosystem, basically. Like that pond is probably going to be a big part of any of the animals I bring, and water for my plants and food and them, and everything. So I don't have power down there. I only have power to the front half of the acreage, the first half, first 5 acres, and that's where my mom's house is located at. It's right near the road. She has the front half there, and when when her dad owned it, they just had the house there up front. It was a very small 2-story, and all the kids lived in the basement, which was the basically the first story, and then the level part of the house was the second story. And when my mom moved in after he died, she added on a section to the house, so it's kind of like a split level now. She's up there, she has electricity, she has well water. I plan to maybe try and tap into the well water down in the back 5 acres, but we're trying to keep the city as least involved as possible. From what I understand, they're kind of hard asses. Even though it's the country, we are across the street from being basically a different city, and they have almost no regulations when it comes to their land. You can do whatever you want, they don't give a fuck. The side of the street that we're on, we're technically city limits, so in a very busy city, so they see no difference in our land, even though it is categorized as agricultural land. They really don't see a difference in our land and say you live right in the middle of downtown, and you're just zoned as residential. Besides getting being able to have farm animals like chickens and roosters and pigs and cows, otherwise you're treated just like somebody that is zoned residential. It's just kind of a pain in the ass. So anyways, I'm not going, and it's also a fuck ton of money to get the electric company to come out here and put some power poles down there. So I want to be as off-grid as possible anyways. I enjoy that idea. So we're not gonna get power down there. I do plan to maybe go solar, wind power possibly. I don't know. It's another reason why I feel overwhelmed, is I'm also looking into all of these different things all at once. But why I'm getting excited is because actually me and my dad, who's helping me a lot, he does construction. He's done construction his whole life, so he knows what he's talking about. He's already built his own home and then got divorced and then lost that home. Poor guy. So he's in the process of remodeling slash rebuilding a home he just bought. But he is helping me out down here. But last weekend, we officially broke ground to get some trees cleared out and the level, or the land level a little bit. Today he just brought some gravel to help with my driveway down to the back acreage, because nobody really drives back there unless they're gonna go like deer hunting or something. So it's gotten washed out. It's very rocky, and to get a concrete truck down there, which is going to be inevitable, it would be impossible. So he came by with a load of gravel. I'm gonna go and level it out tomorrow. The sun went down, so we couldn't finish, but hopefully I can get some time-lapse footage of me leveling out the gravel with the brush hog, which is something I have never done before. So we'll see how that goes with no supervision. I'm excited. Oh, and I was going to go with a Connex at first as something to live in to get me out of this 22-foot RV. With the way Connexes are priced these days, 5 years ago it was like $2,000, $3,000 for a Connex. Now it's like $8,000, $7,000. So I think I'm going to go with a metal building just to get more square footage for basically the same amount of price. And I'm actually glad I'm going to do it this way with the metal building and then live in that while I then get a Connex, or unless I found something better or something else I liked. I like the idea of half burying the Connex as a way to help with the, no electricity and the heating and air conditioning, is to have one completely buried, one maybe only half buried, where only one side is uncovered. And then I like the idea also that you can add on Connexes later. You can put one on stack one on top of each other. You can add one that's just like an off suite that's your whole bedroom. Like, it's like a Tetris game. You get to, as long as you have the land to do it, basically add on. And I'd like to be comfortable enough to where I could do all that on my own. My dad is getting, he's getting up there in age, and also he recently found out that he had a heart attack and didn't know it. So he's getting something with his heart next month. I think a stent put in or something. I don't know. Again, my scattered brain, I've got so much going on. It's insane. So he's a hard-working man. He will not slow down until he dies. Which, if he does not slow down, it will come sooner than later, because he pushes himself too hard. He always has. This type of guy is. Anyways, learn as much as I can, and like I said, be comfortable enough down the line that I can build my own home with no help at all. I'll have all tools I'll need. I'll have all the knowledge I need and experience, hopefully. But yes, I'm glad I'm doing it this way, so that way I can start with a shop. Once I get my first Connex built and get the heating, AC, solar, whatever, water, plumbing figured out, and I get to move in there, then I have this nice big metal shop that I can, build whatever I need to build, make whatever I want to make. I'm excited because I feel like with everything also on my plate, my brain has never been more creative. I have never come up with more ideas and, maybe, I don't know if tricks is what you want to call it, but, just to do this way. I want to, make my own filtration system. But then I thought, I have so many ideas. I got to get them down better, because they hit me and then I don't write them down and then I kind of forget, or I only remember half of it. That's also something I think has contributed to me feeling overwhelmed, as I have started these building projects for my son, things that he does like, but they're all half done. Like, I always have a future plan, like, oh, this is going to get built next, but I've only built this part so far. He loves it, but, it could be cooler, or I didn't paint this yet, and I wanted to paint this a mural, I wanted to paint like a whole, desert scene on it or something. I don't know, like, I love doing that, and I'm excited to really hone in on that and focus more on it in the future, because I have to, like, mentally push that side of me back a bit so that I'm not starting these projects. I gave myself way too much this summer to do, and then I realized, making stuff for Maverick is not the same as talking to him, as showing him things, and the things I'm using, he can't do with me, like, he's not a 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old that, can maybe hold a screw for me while I'm drilling something in, or go get a different, bit for me, or get this piece of wood, that piece. I mean, he's a 2-year-old, he can't give him a screw, he'll run and fall on it, or whatever, he'll scrape it, and he's a gnarly kid, he likes to climb, and we're making him the stuff that you climb, and it's just like, all he wants to do is play on it. He just doesn't understand. And so, yeah, I need to push that side aside. And, yeah. But I'm excited to get into it whenever I do have the space and the time, and everything else kind of gets leveled off in my life, because I plan to make that, hopefully, fingers crossed, my full-time job. I mean, making this homestead is my retirement plan, because I don't plan to have a retirement plan, if that makes sense. I don't plan to be at a job for the next 40 years of my life or whatever. Like, I've never liked that idea. It's a long, oh my god, I could get into jobs and the pressure of jobs and the pressure of money and all that stuff, but that's for another day. I like the idea of living off the land and not having to be so supportive on other people, and to be able to do everything myself, which that does include killing my animals for food, which is not something I am looking forward to. I know it is a necessity. Ugh, that's for another one too. Okay, another day. Excited for the future, but having trouble with the now, not feeling overwhelmed and like a failure. See, when I was talking about the future, I literally felt like kind of a lift off my chest, and then the second I was like, I'm having trouble with the now, I felt my whole body just shift downward. Like, it's hard to get out of this funk, what I feel about my present circumstances. It's tough. It's tough to see the positive sometimes, and it's tough not to beat yourself down more. I don't know. It's just trying to be positive. Focus ahead. Prioritize is the name of the game for me from now on. Prioritize, categorize, organize, all the I's. Okay, so pray for me if you do that, and fucking send me some good vibes. Thanks for listening. Alright, peace.
Let me see your teeth. Look, let me see your teeth like this. Let me see yours. Let me see your teeth. This is the way we brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. Yeah! Way to go! Good job. This is the way we brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. This is the way we brush your teeth. We do it every day. Brush your teeth. There you go. This is the way we brush your teeth. This is the way we brush your teeth. Look up. We do it every day. Yay! Way to go, Maverick. we brush our teeth, brush our teeth, brush our teeth. This is the way we brush our teeth. We do it every day. You are doing so good and you're tired. What are you tired? What are you tired? Alright, let's clap for Maverick. Clap for Maverick. You're all done. All done. All done. You did so good. Oh, you're such a good boy.